Good morning, everybody.
It's Abby.
Zen Ren. Oh, sorry, just looked at the clock. It is good afternoon. How is everybody? Kind of an overcast day here. Just sitting on the deck. Truth be known, I'm not in stretchy pants. I'm in fuzzy pajama pants. It's a lazy Saturday, and I had a couple of questions. And as I was typing these long, involved novelettes as answers, I thought, this is crazy. I'm going to just do a quick little coffee chat and answer the question here. And perhaps somebody else had the same question. And I also want to do a little update on that Jeffrey Epstein series. I'm thinking I didn't explain it well enough, or it made perfect sense in my mind, but I didn't quite get the point across when I was explaining it. And I know you find this hard to believe, but that does happen quite frequently. My mind is usually 3 or 4 steps ahead of my mouth. Yeah, that's how I describe my life. Yeah, being led around by the nose by my mouth. Anyways, let me get my coffee. Oh, Lukey's out here with me. Oops, I just moved the camera. You can see I'm in the hanging chair. Want to peek at these pajama bottoms? Woo! For those of you doubting me. I will never lie to you. All right. Are you comfortable? How's the outfit? What have you got on hand for a drink? What are you sipping? Maybe it's later in the day. Maybe it's Miller time. Maybe you're not a coffee drinker. Maybe you like a nice cup of tea. So, in my comments, I got a little message from a viewer named Bridget. Morning, Bridget. And she wondered if I was going to read again on the Evelyn Boswell case. And I did read on Evelyn Boswell earlier. I'll pin that in the comments. And I thought about it, and I've actually thought about that reading since. I knew going in that little Evelyn was gone, but I didn't know the circumstances. And when I was done the reading, what we learned felt really comfortable to me. And the short and sweet version of it is that I don't think she was murdered. I think it was a tragic accident, and these people are numbskulls. So, Bridget, no, I don't think I'll read on her again, because I really do feel in my heart of hearts that Megan was a young mom, probably had pretty decent intentions, but just horribly immature, undereducated, undersupported, no positive, decent role models, used to living a hand-to-mouth existence. And her big screw-up in this was she was raised by Angie. She knows what kind of mom Angie is, and she let Angie take care of her daughter. I believe when Evelyn was a little tiny mite, she was easy to look after. You could tuck her in her bed, and she stayed in her bed. She napped. Basically, she ate and slept. Well, as she got into the toddler stage, she needed more hands-on care. I don't think Angie is a hands-on kind of mom. Her kids were a fact of life, and she wasn't going to let them get in the way of a good time. And in some strange way, I think that's exactly how Megan was rearing Evelyn. So while Evelyn was in the care of the boyfriend and Angie, something happened. A tragic accident happened. Did they put her to bed and she got out of bed, and at one point, don't they say one of them shows up at a doorstep soaking wet? Did Evelyn get out of bed and they thought she was napping and she fell in the dugout or a pond? Or did they run a bath, put her in the tub and go sit out on the deck and to smoke or something, and forget that you just can't leave babies in a tub? And, she fell and knocked herself out and drowned. Ooh, these are very ghoulish thoughts, but tragedies do happen every day. These are preventable tragedies. I mean, everybody else sits on the toilet with their phone and reads the news while they chatter away to their kid in the bathtub. That's how it works, right? You don't, especially that age, they don't understand how slickery it is. Which leads to the question, if it was an accident, why didn't they call the cops? Because I believe these people lived with one toe over the line. They were driving stolen cars. They probably passed bad checks. They probably, worked the disability system and the social network, or social backstop, or whatever they call it. I don't know what you call it around the world, but social assistance programs. So when you and I see the police drive up in our driveway, my first thought isn't somebody in the house is going to get arrested, or they've come to take the car because it's stolen, or repossess the computer. I never think of things like that. My mind would go to, oh, somebody's ran into my car or something. But they do. When the police pull up to their driveway, they don't think, oh, what do they want? They think, oh, shit. So while our first instinct is 911, we think the police represents help. The police, in most instances in their life, represent a hassle, a problem to get around, an inconvenience. So logically, it probably isn't their first thought. They probably called family members. They probably tried to get a hold of Megan. And what happened then, I believe, is that as they, in a ass-backward attempt to sort of figure out their next best move, how they could get out of this, how they could have got out of it was to phone, take responsibility, and take their licks. But no, they're trying to work it. So daybreak comes, and they still don't have an answer, and now it really looks odd if they call now. This baby's been gone for quite a while, and they haven't called. So they start concocting these far-fetched people in a camper nonsense stories. And for a while, it's working. One of the things that works to their benefit is Evelyn is not in the system. She doesn't attend school yet. She's not enrolled in any daycare programs. Her mother's a bit of a nomad. It's not unusual for her to be in the care of the grandma for a period of time, and then in her mother's care for a period of time. So much like the Casey Anthony, they can stall people off for several weeks. Finally, it's Megan's dad who puts it all together and starts to wonder. It wasn't Megan. So Megan's in on it. She's in on the cover-up. I don't think Megan would want to get rid of Evelyn or hurt Evelyn. I think she loved Evelyn. I just think she was way over her head. She needed a parent. Megan needed a parent. And here she was trying to parent little Evelyn. So just, it was a disaster just waiting to happen almost from the get-go. But Megan would have loved Evelyn. Evelyn was that thing that could calm her anxiety. It was somebody to love her unconditionally. It also maybe provided some kind of support for her. I don't know if she was receiving child support from the baby's daddy, but it certainly would have put her in line for some kind of social assistance. So there just didn't seem that vibe that this kid was causing them great problems. Sure, it's always, a hassle to have a toddler. But I don't think they were motivated by that. I think they come from the land of the stupids. They made one horrific bad decision after another. and they've got themselves neck deep in mud. Why hasn't there been an arrest? That also plays into this, Bridget, if you think about it. They maybe can't arrest them for murder. That's probably what they want, is they want to arrest them for murder, like they did in the Casey Anthony case. And really, the facts wouldn't support it. And that's kind of how old Casey snuck through the barbed wire there, didn't she? There's a lot more to that story, but there is some similarities there. So I believe that they have clamped down on Megan in an effort to get her to spill on her mom. And there really isn't much to spill other than we are a bunch of liars. And I think they're savvy enough in the ways of the law and dealing and know their legal rights that they understand if the police had something on them, they'd be sitting in jail right now. So they're smart enough to they know we just have to hang together and we'll weather this. So rest easy. I do not believe that Evelyn had a terrible life up until the accident. I think she was as good as she could have been loved by those people. And yes, they are just dumber than a wet paper bag. So that's my answer to you, Bridget. Excuse me. Little allergies going on. Our poplar trees are fluffing out like crazy. So I gotta wash some of that fuzz down here with some coffee. The other thing I want to talk about is this Jeffrey Epstein series I want to do. Had a query from one of the viewers, and just based on what she said, I got the impression that I didn't explain it very well. What I am trying to do is, there is a ex-federal prosecutor on YouTube, and his name is Glenn Kushner. Not Kushner. Is it? It'll come to me. I just thought of Jared Kushner. That's not right. I'm going to look it up on my phone while I talk. Anyways, Glenn, former prosecutor, I've seen him before, and when he came up on my YouTube feed, I recognized his name, and I clicked. He does some political stuff, so if that'll get your batteries all charged up and inflame you, don't watch that kind of stuff. I'm not here to talk about politics. Yeah, it is Kushner, but it's Kirschner. All right, so he does do some political stuff, but that's not what I'm talking about. What he's going to do is he's going to take the Jeffrey Epstein evidence, and he's going to present the case that the prosecution would have presented in the Jeffrey Epstein New York State case if he hadn't suicided himself. So he's going to review the facts and the evidence. He's going to review witnesses' statements and through other old depositions and interviews and videos. He's even said things like, he's talked about the autopsy. He's going to give us a little bit behind the scenes. How does it work in the prosecutor's office? What is their main mission statement? He's going to deliver a closing argument, just as we would have seen in the case if Jeff hadn't pulled the plug. So, he's going to do a series, and for some reason a dozen has stuck in my mind, that he's going to do 12 episodes on this. And each episode, I want to take a tidbit from it, whether it's a new character we're not familiar with. It might be an old character we're familiar with. In the last video, it was his 2008 conviction in Florida, and how that conviction, that sweetheart deal, was illegal. The fact that he and Alex Acosta's Department of Justice made a deal that kept the victims in the dark was illegal. They had a right to let their views be known on this deal that he had cut, and they squeezed him. They squeezed the victims out. The victims' lawyers went on to fight that and eventually won years. I think it was 10 years later. That's the heart of this. That's where the split starts, because getting that overturned allowed the New York State to get this investigation going. And then when he landed in New York, they just scooped him off that plane and away he went. But if the original two victims' lawyer, their hard work and their lawyer's hard work had not had that overturned, probably old Jeff would be busy circling the globe in his whorehouse on wheels, or whatever, his abuse plane on wheels, because yuck. So every time Glenn does a video, what I'll do is I'll pin it up in the comments. So when you scroll down the comments, you should see the first comment should say pinned by Abby Zen Wren, and in it, it'll be a link to that video. In my mind, what I see happening is you'll click onto my video, you'll scroll down, you'll watch Glenn's video, then you'll come back, and along with me, you'll know what I'm talking about, and we'll read some cards and have some coffee or have a drink. You never know. And think about this incredibly complex, yet to be revealed. I think when they peel the skin back on this orange, woo, it's a juicy one. So I hope that explains it better, and I hope that encourages more of you to come on along. Anyways, my coffee's getting cold. Luke's sitting over across from me, giving me the stink eye. He wants me to go throw the ball, and I think that's a good idea for me. But it was great to see you guys, and I hope you're going to have a great weekend. And be like Bridget. If you have a question, drop me a line. You just never know when I'm bored. You guys take good care. Talk soon. Bye.